How's it going, y'all? I hope you're finding peace, creativity, and just the opportunities and the callings and what a gift it is to reconnect with yourself in this time. And then really just understanding what's important. I think we have time and space to do this now as we're in this situation. So I hope you're finding that time and really focusing on that. We got to think about attention and intention, if that makes sense. So your intention, if you want to picture, you have a magnifying glass and you want to take that magnifying glass. Now your intention would be what ray of light you're choosing to allow come through your magnifying glass, right? That's your intention. So you could choose this ray of sunlight, that ray of sunlight coming in through some shadows. You could choose a fluorescent bulb, whatever. And then your attention would be like how you twist the magnifying glass, i.e. how you're moving your tool, how you're moving your mind in order to change the frequency of that light. So your intention with, I'm going to choose the sunlight, this really intense version of light. And then my attention, now I'm going to twist it. And, it's like we used to do as kids. We used to draw on paper with like a black marker, and then we'd burn with the magnifying glasses. We would burn and trace like our names and trace words in the paper by twisting that magnifying glass. That is what your attention is like. So you can choose to twist your magnifying glass, your tool, your body, your mind, and your will, and your emotions, your attention, what you're paying attention to create that thing. Now, if your attention is not on things that are going to provide what you want, then you're going to end up with results that you don't like. Or a lot of times we just get results we don't expect or we don't like because we don't know what our intention is. So we don't understand what source of light we are choosing, for instance. And then as a result, we don't know what our intention is. So now we don't even understand what we're paying attention to. So now your focus, that light that's coming through with your intention, now your intention has been hijacked. And since your intention is not focused, now your attention is being hijacked and focused all of these different ways, going all of these different directions. Okay. So when that happens, you're not going to get the results you want, but you are reacting to everything. Reacting. And what happens with all of that reaction, this is why I would encourage you, turn off your news right now and go talk to your neighbors. You'll see a completely different story if you just go out in your neighborhood, talk to your neighbors, than you will if you're on the news right now. I'm not saying don't be informed, and I'm not saying don't use wisdom. But I'm just saying, understand the difference in the narrative between if you walk out in your neighborhood and talk to real people versus the narrative that's being spun all out there in the media. Okay? Two different things that are happening. One is spirit. One is fear. One is knowledge of good and evil. Okay? Knowledge of good and evil leads to death. Spirit, which is life, which is breath, which is the seed of God inside of you, right here. The kingdom, as Jesus called it, that is life. Okay, so tree of life, tree of the knowledge of good and evil, all this other stuff out here, these voices. The way you can tell the difference between the two. Okay, again, if your attention is all out here, scattered around everywhere, and you are reacting, you are in your animal brain. You are in a fight or flight response at all times. Your amygdala is firing and you're in your reptile brain. It was this part of your brain that's basically evolved to make you an animal to be in a survival situation. So if you were out in the middle of nowhere, you were freezing to death and you had to, run 30 miles or fight off a bear to survive, for instance, that part of your brain activates and it will allow you to do whatever is necessary to survive. However, if you're just sitting in your house, watching your TV, drinking your coffee, that part of you should not be activated. But if you allow all this other stuff to catch your attention, you are acting as an animal. The animal part of you is activated, and you aren't allowing yourself to be a full, complete, living being. You should be a living being. That's what being a human is all about. So I encourage you in this time, please understand your intention, what source you're coming from, and your attention, what you're allowing that light or that energy that you have, where you are allowing it to go. Okay? Because that's what's going to make or break a lot of us in these situations. And it's an interesting concept. There's this concept called hormesis, okay? So it comes from what's known as beneficial stress. Okay, so if you exercise, if you intentionally expose yourself to cold water or hot water or cold or heat, for instance, if you do breath work, breathing, you're consciously making yourself hyperventilate, things like this. This beneficial stress is actually really good for your body, and because you're choosing the stress, and it actually allows you to get to a point where you can deactivate your natural or your automatic animal responses. And I'm just using this as an example. Right now, you can have stress that's coming outward, right? That you are not choosing, and you're reacting to it, and this stress activates you into that fear mode, into that fight or flight response. That makes sense. So your mind, your will, and emotions, they act the same way. Okay, so the things you meditate upon, and if you don't meditate upon anything, start with something simple. Sit in stillness and think of a really good memory from childhood. And breathe and focus on that. It will produce a feeling in your body, and then focus on that feeling. Hold that feeling, and guess what? When you feel stressed out or you feel like you're in fear about something, you can recall that place and generate that feeling, and it gets the fear, boom, right out of your body, okay? It's a form of prayer. And it's actually a form of love, so you extend that feeling to your fellow humans, even in this time of crisis. Okay, so understand your intention informs your attention, and what happens to your attention is what you sow, and then again, what you reap into your life. Okay, so what you put out inevitably becomes what you get in, and that's getting back to what we said in a previous video. That's what Jesus says. It's not what comes out, or not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out. So you can intake all this stuff, and if you know how to sit with it in here, right, you have this furnace, the kingdom of God inside of you, that will burn it up and turn it into something good, right? However, if you're constantly putting out junk, you're going to reap junk. And if you never understand how to transform it, you're just piling junk upon junk upon junk, okay? So intention, attention, learn the difference, and really be conscious about your intention, and that will allow you to start to pay attention to where your attention is going. All right, this is Monk. Peace and blessings to you. I'll catch you on the flip side.